For the past 400 plus days, Bitcoin has been following a devastating pattern, one that wiped out the market last time at the market cycle top in 2021. However, we just have breaking news. We have breaking news in price action with this pattern right here. We have breaking news with the RSI and a major update with the stochastic RSI. Can Bitcoin break free from this pattern that has held it down for 400 days? And can Bitcoin get back into the midst of an extreme upward trajectory, an extreme part of the bull run? Is that on the horizon, or are things about to become devastating? Are things about to become a crazy bloodbath and this pattern will repeat? Because keep in mind, Bitcoin has been repeating this pattern every single day for the past 400 days. This is Bitcoin's biggest test of the entire bull run, and we have some new evidence, some new facts in the charts that we need to dig into, and this is what happens next for Bitcoin. Let's get into it. Because of the overwhelming flood of emails after we sold out, we are reopening the exit plan masterclass, but only for the next 24 hours. If you miss it this time, you're on your own. Just know 99% of traders will exit wrong. One mistake, one panic, one crash could erase your entire portfolio. Stop worrying and get my exit plan strategy. Imagine waking up to a crash and feeling calm because you already exited like a pro. Plus, if you sign up right now, you will immediately unlock a special altcoin bonus video. Use crypto at the checkout to save an extra $300. Go now, cryptocrewuniversity.com. So here we are. We're on the Bitcoin US dollar index, and today we're on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we've got price action above, RSI middle of our screen, stochastic RSI bottom of our screen. All three have huge updates. All three are monumentally important, for this is the most important move for Bitcoin in this bull run. This is the biggest test. We have been repeating a deadly pattern. Let's not let that slip away. So here we go. Let's start with price action. What you see with price action, and by the way, let's just cover this pattern real quick just to set the standard of what is going on. And we know right now, Bitcoin's price action just peeked its head above this green line. We were in this red box, peeked our head above the green line for the first time. I want you to take a mental screenshot of that. And now let's revisit this pattern. 2021, we had bearish divergence. We had a pivot high here in price, and then we made a higher high while the RSI made a high and a lower high right in the middle of that 300-day bearish divergence, which marked the absolute market top. What happened after that bearish divergence is we broke below this green line into this red box. This was Bitcoin's last chance back in 2021. In 2022, it had one final hurrah. It had one final chance to continue the bull, and it failed miserably. And because that pattern failed, we had a market crash. It was a bloodbath of a crash, and it happened very, very quickly as soon as this happened. Take a look. We were in our red box, and we broke above that green line for the first time with this candle right here on March 28th, 2022. And that was the highest that we got. And since that time, we had a huge crash. That was the last hurrah, and it ended with a stochastic RSI cross to the downside, which marked this failed rally, and it led us into a bloodbath. Fast forward to this news cycle. What's happening? Well, we entered our first high here, and then we had a higher high, also 300 days apart, oddly enough. Also, we had a high in the RSI and a lower high in the RSI here, where we made a high and a higher high here. This is bearish divergence. This is the exact pattern that marked the top in 2021. So what happens next? We entered this red box, just like we did back then. And by the way, if you're wondering what this green box is, it's just exactly in between the 300 days bearish divergence. We had this anomaly where we were in a bull run, but we dipped below this green line. Pretty much never happens. When we're in a bull run, and you can see our last bull run, when we're in a bull run, we're pretty much holding this green line as support. And when we drop below exactly in between here, that's precisely what we did here in the areas of August 2024. So here we are in this red box, right? We had our potential bearish divergence with a downfall below this green line into this red box, and we were waiting for a stochastic RSI cross. We were waiting for it, and we said, look, the stochastic RSI cross happens about 2 times per year, and this is the only thing that could push Bitcoin to a new all-time high and potentially break this devastating pattern. That's where we left off. Last week, we left off like, hey, what we need to do is do some very specific things with this green line, which we're going to unpack in a moment, and then we needed to have a confirmed stochastic RSI cross. Well, what have we had since then? We've had a confirmation of the stochastic RSI cross, hot off the press. But guess what? That's exactly what we had back at the top of 2021. We had this stochastic RSI cross, and it crossed down while we were trying to really claim this green line as support. And by the way, what's this green line? It's the 21 SMA. So this week, we've got a lot of news that's hot off the press with this chart. We were waiting for several things from last week. Number one, we were waiting for 2 candles to close above this green line. That's what we want to see. Why? Well, last time we had 1 candle close above, and that was right when we had that stochastic RSI cross down. So if we want Bitcoin to be different than this pattern that it's followed for 400 days, we need to prove it in the chart. If we keep doing the same moves, Bitcoin's going to have no chance. It's a done deal, right? Because what happened after we moved above this green line, it was a massive crash. We're talking about a crash of almost 70% after this. If the pattern continues, that's what we have coming next. Nobody wants that. So what can Bitcoin do? Well, it has to do something dramatically different. It has to show and prove that it is in a different state of mind and emotion and facts in the charts. It has to prove that it's different than the prior market cycle top. In order to do that, it's got to reclaim this green line, which is the 21 SMA, and that will show that Bitcoin now has strength back in the bull run. When we're below here, or as we are right now in limbo, what needs to happen next? This green candle that just printed is what's called our breakout candle. That candle potentially showed us breaking above this green line. Now we need what's called a confirmation candle. We have to have 1 candle that actually closes its body above said green line. That's called a confirmation candle. Keep in mind, we had 1 confirmation candle in the prior cycle, which is why I said we need 2. We need 2 to show that we've got more strength, to show that this time is different. That's what we need with price action. With the RSI, middle of our screen, keep in mind, RSI goes from a range of 0 up to 100. Anytime on a weekly chart that we are below this structure of 44, we're in trouble, right? 44 on a weekly chart for Bitcoin for the RSI is key market structure for a decade, and we want to remain above there. However, above our head is some key market structure as well. We've got the RSI rising. Great. We've got some momentum on our side with a weekly stochastic RSI cross that's confirmed. Great, right? We were waiting for this. These are the ingredients that Bitcoin needs to prove that this time is different. That's what Bitcoin is trying to prove right now. We have 400 days of price action leading up to today that has shown so far it's exactly like it was in 2021. We cannot deny that. So far, 400 days in a row, we have proven nothing. This is the chance right now that Bitcoin can prove that this time is different. And here's how. By the way, if you really want to sign up to the masterclass, but it's way over your budget, I have good news. I'll share with you later in the video. We need it to start with the stochastic RSI. And this stochastic RSI is going to have to be so strong that it needs to influence the 2-week stochastic RSI, which is here. This is a bonus chart. Take a look. What we see is a 2-week stochastic RSI close to confirming. We just had a cross that is confirmed, but the cross hasn't closed above the 20. So what does this mean? A 2-week stochastic RSI cross, our momentum, happens once per year. That's it. The last time it happened was September 2024 when Bitcoin went from 53 up to 100. The time before that was September 2023 when Bitcoin went from about 24 all the way up to 70. These things happen once in a while, but here's the key. You guys remember this video. The green green, and then the red top, green, the red top, green, the red. You get the idea. We've had one anomaly, and we said in this most simplest way, how do we know if it's going to be a big crash or a huge rally? And it's really simple. This is how easy it is. How long do we stay below the 20 with the stochastic RSI? Meaning, you see these green boxes? That's when we stayed down there for hundreds of days. That clearly meant the market top was in. Anytime we stayed down below there for a little bit and crossed up, we had a huge rally. And there's no false signals, right? Stayed down below for a little bit, cross up, huge rally. Stayed down below for a little bit, cross up, huge rally. Even this one, the anomaly, stayed down there for a little bit, crossed up, big rally. What we need to see from this stochastic RSI is continued momentum above the 20 when both the fast and the slow. The fast line, the blue line, is above there now. The slow line, orange, not yet. What we want to see is come next week, the week after, we see both the slow and the fast up here around the 40-ish, 40, 30, 50. That will show extreme strength in the market and something that Bitcoin hasn't seen since this rally here. So that's what we're looking for on the 2-week chart. And the only way to get that on the 2-week chart is we need this stochastic RSI cross on the weekly not to do what it did here and have a quick cross down. If you see a quick cross down in the coming week to 2 to 3 weeks, it's not looking good, because that would be exactly the pattern that we did in 2021. That would likely mean there was a failed rally, and a failed rally, it just basically means it failed to get above the prior all-time high. That's a failed rally. When you're in a bull run, when you have this lull of a couple hundred days and we're collecting market structure and everything's looking good, you need to see a bounce off of that structure to a new all-time high. You have to see continued higher highs and higher lows to technically be in a bull run. The bad news is we have 400 days in a row of doing this pattern, and we're trying to break away as we speak. This is the biggest test of the year for Bitcoin, and it's got to get multiple candles above the green. It's got to do this stochastic RSI cross in a powerful way and maintain the cross for multiple weeks. Anything short of that would end up just like this in 2021. And we need that RSI in our most bullish case scenario. If you're a Bitcoin bull and you're like, Steve, just lay it on me. What do I look for in the charts to show that we're in extreme bullish phase? Well, we've had bearish divergence. That's not up for debate. How can we break it? We set a new all-time high, and this RSI takes out the prior swing high, meaning this RSI gets higher than 80. If it did that, it would not only break free of a new all-time high, it would break free from any negativity from this bearish divergence. The bearish divergence would essentially be broken and thrown into the garbage, null and void with said move. So how do you think it's going to play out? Earlier, I mentioned if you are somebody who really wants the masterclass, but it's way over your budget, here is the good news. Since the beginning of this company, we have always helped every single person in need. So if you are a single mom, a single dad, a vet, somebody who's disabled, somebody who's in a really tough financial situation, or somebody just from a less fortunate country, send me an email right now. I have helped every single person in need, and we will continue to do so. Email me now, info@cryptocrewuniversity.com. Tell me your situation, and I will help every single person in need.